Surprising precisely nobody except the Pentagon, it has emerged recently that a whole bunch of nude pictures of service women have been circling around the internet. I don't find this particularly surprising, however bad and nasty it is, and let's get this out the way right up front. This is not a good thing to do. It's not something anyone should do. If someone shares their naked pictures with you, that's an intimate act between two people who presumably, hopefully, care for each other a little bit. And so to share them around is a huge breach of trust, even after you break up. But it's not surprising. Uniforms are a huge fetish for a whole bunch of people. Military relationships are often very strained, often break up, are often very acrimonious in their breakups, so I don't know why this would surprise anybody. But even so, it exists at the nexus of a whole bunch of social and political and technological issues that fascinate and interest me, and it's a great opportunity to talk about them again. America is a weird, sexually and culturally fucked up country. And I'm saying that as a Brit, so that should carry some weight, considering everything we push down under the surface. America is weirdly patriotic in a way that most Europeans aren't. I think that's due to not having quite so close a brush with fascism as we've had. I think that also goes some way to explaining the derangement over Trump, etc., and the readiness to throw around Hitler and fascist as an insult. I think that's due to a lack of intimacy with these concepts, a lack of direct at-home history of these concepts. But that also emerges as this weird kind of military worship that goes on all sides of the political spectrum. It didn't used to be that way. The left used to be very scathing towards soldiers during the Vietnam War and so on, but now it seems that on all sides it's verboten to disagree with or diss the military, and that can also manifest in, well, you shouldn't shame the military. Soldiers, particularly Marines, seem to be held to this higher moral standard than your average person. You also have America, which is a constitutionally secular and free speech place that has a thriving pornography industry. Well, not as thriving as it used to be, but that's a whole other topic. But at the same time, it's a highly religious country with a great deal of social shaming culture and these kind of old-fashioned prudish morals that look down on anyone who does anything remotely sexual or adult. You find that a lot of single mothers get condemned, whether it's their fault or not, and anyone whose pictures get spread around, you've got a big shaming culture there. And furthermore, this shaming culture is now coming not only from the right-hand side, but also from the left-hand side. You've got a lot more sex-negative feminism looking down upon women who let the side down whenever they do anything remotely sexual or even wear the wrong clothes or whatever. So, people who do get caught out in this way now find themselves being blasted on both sides. And in this instance, you have all this military mess involved as well. On top of all that, there's this generational technological divide where just a few years makes a huge difference. Even a fair amount of people of my generation don't really use social media. I can't find all my old school buddies and stuff on Facebook or wherever. A lot of them just aren't that interested in it. A couple more years and it's pretty ubiquitous. So there's a whole gap there, and then into mobile communications, that's another huge gap. The ease with which people can take a saucy photo and send it to their lover is boggling to people who are just a little bit older, who haven't made the effort to understand these things. Now, a lot of people are making the usual kind of hay out of this whole event. They're trying to claim that this is an example of rape culture, even though nobody has been raped, and it's not been suggested that anybody's been raped because of this. Is it a shitty thing to do? Yes, absolutely. People shouldn't do it. People shouldn't share intimate private photos that have been sent to them. They shouldn't be sneaking photos. If that's been happening, I don't know. I haven't been able to see any of the raw files. I felt uncomfortable about looking for them in any case. But yeah, all that's crap, but it's not rape, and it's not rape culture. It's horny guys wanting to see naked women. I recall when a similar thing happened with Israeli female conscripts. It was pretty much celebrated that, you know, these hot young women were training up to fight terrorists and whatever else. It got spread around, and it was a huge PR boost for the Israeli military, more than something to be ashamed of, though I believe people were disciplined. But on the whole, the internet and everyone else seemed to react to this as a good thing. And there's similar sort of things been said about Kurdish women fighters, and images of them that have gone around, you know, the usual bullshit, there's something about a woman that can kick your ass, and all the rest of it. But there's been a lot of interest and even respect given in these other instances that doesn't appear to exist in this instance. I mean, people are condemning the men for spreading them around, but at the same time there seems to be this intense shaming culture, both from the patriotic right, condemning the women as sluts who shouldn't have done anything so stupid, and there's an element of truth to that, but also again from the left, who seem to hold the same attitudes and just give them different excuses. And then this is all intermingled with this military worship thing that these women have brought the service into disrepute, and you know that they're letting the side down for women, which is the viewpoint from the other side, in that, you know, they're acting in this way and they should recognise that they're trailblazers and pathfinders for other women, and this will put other women off joining the service, and blah 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 blah. It's schizophrenic, and it's really hard for me to get my head around that anti-sex mindset anyway, but then especially combined with this patriotism and military worship, which is a complete outside context problem for me. I don't understand it. Aren't you all just hired killers? Now, a lot of the women who've discovered that they've been exposed are quite rightly upset about all this. But I'm going to make a comparison here that is going to seem to come out of left field, but bear with me. Now, a lot of studies in America around abortion show that it's a horrible, stressful, terrible event for the women involved. And this is often used to bolster the anti-abortion debate, that women who have abortions often suffer from massive depression and all kinds of other issues. But there is an important aspect to these studies that is overlooked by the anti-abortion people, and that is the role of the culture in this effect that it has on women's mental health. In cultures where abortion is completely legal and basically unremarked, like many in Europe, there is still an element of stress and strain that comes with the whole procedure and the decision and everything, but it is much lower than for women in the States. So when you look at these mental health issues and post-abortion depression and everything else, I believe that it's important to look at the culture, at the shaming culture, at the condemnation, at the role of religion and so on, in condemning and harassing and haranguing the women who are faced with these difficult choices. Men face shaming over other issues in a similar cultural way. So if we look at that in the US and we look at that in Europe, and we can see that there is a considerable difference between the degree of post-abortion mental health issues, you know, we can definitely see that this shaming culture and the hatred and the shunning and the condemnation and everything around it plays a role in those mental issues. So to bring it back to this, I think we can see that this schizophrenic American sexual culture, the the shaming that goes on from both left and right and so on, creates the pressure that is the real problem here. I mean, yes, it's a shitty thing to do to share people's intimate photos, but it shouldn't be as big of a deal as it is, in my opinion. Sexuality is healthy, it's natural. We have all these devices and so on so that we can relatively securely send images from one person to another. You're in love with someone, you're separated from them for long periods of time, or even short periods of time, You want to remind them of you, that you're thinking of them, that they arouse you and excite you, and you want to arouse and excite them. Of course you're going to send pictures. Of course you're going to, share intimate imagery and messages and everything else. Why is that surprising? Especially in the military, where all these, the separation anxiety and long-distance relationships and all these other issues are much more prevalent. Why is this a big deal? Why is it a problem? Why should we consider it to be bringing anyone into disrepute? I don't think we should. I think we all need a far healthier and far more accepting attitude towards people's sexuality, even when we don't like it. If it was no big deal, if you took some nude photos for your boyfriend and he put them around, what a shit, here, let me buy you a drink. That should be an end to it. It shouldn't be, you're bringing the Marine Corps into disrepute, and this is why women shouldn't be allowed in the ranks, and and you're letting women down and putting women off joining the service by doing this. You should have known better. Blah 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 blah. Bollocks. We're human beings. We're sexual animals. Who gives a toss? And why should anyone give a toss if you decide to send your tits to somebody? Shouldn't mean a goddamn thing, in my humble opinion. And the world would be a better place if we didn't treat this as some kind of big, huge deal. That's what I reckon. And that's why I think we should... People joke about it. People say, that's why you don't have straight pride marches. Well, maybe we need a straight pride march. Maybe we need to celebrate sexuality in all its forms and get it out there. I'd love to have a march with strippers and webcam girls and whoever else, even fucking furries. Have a float at a parade and yiff away to your heart's content as we drive down Main Street. I don't give a fuck. We should celebrate the entire length and breadth of human sexuality, and who fucking cares? The more you make of it, the less people will care. I think we should be more open and understanding with each other. Why is that so difficult? I don't know. Zang.